2025, baby. You know what that means. We're starting the year with a reading vlog. Will it be the only video I post this year? Maybe. So in the past couple of years, I have started the year by reading as many of the shortest books on my TBR as I could fit into a week. We're going to try something different this year. Oh, but that's not all. We are going to read the longest and the shortest books on my TBR, which are War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy and All the Violet Tiaras by Jean Meunier. I bought this book in second year of university. Second year. It sat on my shelf. You can see by the tabs, there was a read-along planned for that summer of War and Peace, where you read like 6 chapters a day over the summer to finish it. Should we see how far I got? That's probably like the length of a whole book, because they're like Bible pages. That's probably already a long book. Worryingly, I've just seen in the viewfinder what my bookmark was. Oh, how times have changed. I love you as much as Kanye loves himself. Maybe times haven't changed at all. You know, so I started it, I got a chunk of the way through, and I have footage. I have footage of me starting to read this book. So let's throw back to past Lauren and her delusions in what I assume was 2016 or 2017. So about 8-9 years ago. No big. Forgive the roots. Hi, welcome to Cook's Books. The fact that I'm sat in a car in my work uniform can only mean one thing. Yes, you are watching a vlog. Yamini at The Skeptical Reader and Ange at Beyond the Pages are hosting their annual War and Peace read-along, and this year I thought I would join in the fun. A lot of people are asking why I'm doing this to myself. I've just come out of uni, I've just finished a lot of stress. But I need to keep the stress going to give myself momentum, to keep myself working. And War and Peace is quite the challenge. It's a huge behemoth of a book, and I'm really looking forward to getting into it. So it's June 1st, day 1, it runs for the entirety of June and July. I haven't read anything yet, I'm just about to go into work, hopefully I'll get something read on my break. I'm reading from the new Russian Vintage Classics collection and also from the free version you can get on your iPhone, just so I don't have to lug the book around everywhere if I don't think I'm going to have time to read at home that day. But right now I'm late for work, so I really need to go. See ya! Because I don't hate myself, I will be listening to this as an audiobook, because I'm not as young as I was, I can't lift it anymore. But this is a short history of queering the Greek myths by YouTube/BookTube's own Jean Meunier, and I will read this physically once I've finished the big boy. Let's get into it. I don't know why this is so devastating, but I'm 3 hours in. Tell me why I love War and Peace. I mean, I was hoping I would enjoy it. Yes, it is a shock dolly. I was hoping I would love it. But even the battle scenes that I can somewhat remember from last time as being like a slog are quite exciting. I don't know who I am anymore. Like, I've got no idea what's going on or who anyone is or why everyone has like 6 names. Actually, I do know that from reading a bit of Crime and Punishment a few years ago, that everyone has like 3 or 4 names and then a title, and their relationships dictate what name they call each other. Thanks, doll. Really giving the people what they want. Fair enough. Tell me why. Tell me why someone just said bleak. 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 I don't even want to talk about it. Colour me shooker than anyone. I'm enjoying War and Peace. Like, I remember enjoying the high society bits of it, but like the military bits were lost on me. But I think listening to it as an audiobook, because it's read by Tandaway Newton, it's a game changer. Like, the war bits are exciting. Obviously I thought I was going to enjoy it when I bought it, but also I was like 18 when I... No, I can't have had it for 10 years. Let's be kind and say 21. Also, like, I was a pretentious little kid and I was like, I'm gonna read One Piece. I'm better than you. But I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm halfway through. When did that happen? Over the course of 2 days. So, thoughts on this book? Is it me, Jesus?
The sun is a deadly laser.
I refuse to check physically, but I think I'm like a good 3/4 of the way through it, and I think I've only just learned who the main characters are. Like, we haven't even talked about what this book is about. During the Napoleonic Wars, it follows high society in Moscow and St. Petersburg, and also the military maneuvers of the Russian army. And the structure of it is so clever, because when each section starts, you are on the battlefield in something quite exciting and fast-paced, and it picks out a regiment, and then it picks out a soldier in that regiment, and then you follow the soldier on the field for a while, and then that soldier goes home, and it takes you, so you've kind of gone from a whole war into an individual, and then back out into society again, but it still feels narrower than that huge war, so it's almost like an hourglass on its side of plot, and I think it's a really effective way to help you remember all of these people. Apologies for the lighting, but like, look at how many people it thinks are just main important characters to know. It's too damn many. But this structure pulls you through time and space and through society in a way that's really accessible, or reasonably accessible. And I now feel like I've followed Natasha for most of her life, and I think she is one of the key characters in this book, and her romances and her growing up are so true to kind of an enchanted girlhood. And I think a lot of people would read this and say that it's not even remotely feminist, that it's reducing women down into archetypes of, you know, the devout, the society girl. But I think it's doing the same for the men as well. And I think it's doing that to highlight kind of the frivolities of society, and how those frivolities don't go away in war. Just because you've gone to war, it doesn't make you a great hero and a great person. Just, you know, you nearly die, you lose a limb. So what, you're still running off back to mummy for the weekend? I am not a romance girly, but I'm caught up in the romances and the double crosses and the swindling of Court. I think Court is really where I'm enjoying it the most. But like, we've crept closer now as the front line gets withdrawn, and I feel like it's about to collide, and the realisation that all these very rich people are going to have, that they can be inconvenienced in the worst way, it's going to be so interesting. It's like 3 hours later, and they killed one of them. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend I was teary-eyed, but like, the fact that this book, this boring ass tome of a book, has had me gagged, has had me gooped, has had me shook.
Bitch, I'm gaggity goop to the goopery goop, goop, goopity goop, goop, goop. Oh, my say.
I think I'm on the home stretch now. I almost don't want to carry on. Here we are, on another dark, dark night. I finished War and Peace. I honestly feel really emotional saying that out loud, which is so silly. But on the other hand, it's not. That's an achievement. Some people might say, like, oh, you listened to an audiobook. You didn't read War and Peace, you listened to War and Peace. I've consumed War and Peace. I am proud of myself. What I'm not proud of is Leo Tolstoy. So, you know, we got the two couples happily ever after, the wed, and then it felt like we got like an epilogue of them with their kids and like how they meet up for special occasions and they have these whole lives, which, you know, is good because you spend so much time getting to know them and becoming invested in their stories. That on one hand I was like, oh, look at my babies go, living real full lives. And on the other hand I was like, this leaves nothing to me as a reader to imagine. It's almost like that stupid end scene of the Pride and Prejudice movie, you know, where they're on the dock because Americans couldn't understand that they were going to live happily ever after. It felt like that. It felt like I wasn't being trusted to imagine a future for these characters, which was somewhat of a disappointment. But overall, like, it's an epic in the truest sense of the word. Could I have used less military tactics? Yes. But did that serve to show you the futility of war and how wars are won and lost on like a few pompous men not listening? Yes. Was I surprised at the level at which he critiqued the Russians in that war? Yeah, absolutely. Do I feel like I got an insight into the upper class in that time period? Absolutely. Was I confused by the hour-long philosophical treatise that came at the end of this audiobook that I had no understanding of whatsoever? I mean, I could have done without it. Very strange. Very bizarre. So after that, we're all happy forever epilogue. We then had that philosophical treatise, and I'm not gonna lie, didn't add anything. Maybe that's just me being stupid. But you can't call me stupid because I fucking read War and Peace. So to soothe my brain, we're also gonna read the shortest book on my TBR, which is about gay people loving Greek myths. And I hope I'm gonna feel like my brain's had a bath when I'm done with that. We had the 404 Inklings subscription last year, so everything they produced last year we've got. So I can't say, oh, I picked it up because, but I find this topic interesting because so when I'm being petty about something, I say it wasn't put out for us, like it wasn't offered to me, it wasn't for me. So every time I think of classics, because I went to a state school, it certainly wasn't put out for us. We were scrappy, stinky little kids from the villages. We were not going to be learning about Ovid. And Persephone and Hades and Orpheus and Eurydice, we were not exposed to those stories. You were lucky if you got Shakespeare. So I've always had this huge chip on my shoulder about it, and when I went to university, obviously I studied creative writing alongside English language, so myths played a huge role in that, and we had to read a lot of them and really grapple with a lot of them, and I felt at a huge disadvantage, which again raged us out of my goddamn mind. So in a lot of ways I feel like I taught myself about them, and I do love myths, and like I really love them, but I still always feel this like class judgment. So we'll see if I cope getting through this. And just for the flex of not only finishing War and Peace today, but finishing a second book today. We're gonna finish it. within an hour, I suspect. Like, we need to acknowledge there is a level of parasocial relationship in this review, because I've been watching Jean since I was in undergrad, since I first bought War and Peace, and I've been watching her journey in academia of classics that whole time, and I'm trying to separate that from this, but this is written in a really accessible, informal way, in a way that feels like your big sister talking to you about something that she loves and she wants you to understand, and join her in the excitement of. I felt like if I'd had this when I was like 16 and like struggling to get my head around that like conflict I've got for no reason, then that would have been massively helpful. I think for where I am now in my journey, it stuck to really well-known myths. I've had lots of contact with, seen lots of adaptations of. I would have liked to have seen some rarer ones, but again, that's because that's where I am in my journey. I look forward to picking up some of Jean's other stuff that she's written. I know she's edited a couple of anthologies of retellings and stories, so maybe that's somewhere to look next. And I just love a little bit of queer media literacy. What can I say? These are the first two books I read in 2025. That still feels wrong to say. The longest and shortest books of my TBR. I don't feel smug. I feel proud of myself. And now I'm gonna go make sure I don't get into a slump by reading something really camp and silly and light and fun. Hope your reading years got off to an amazing start, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.